Boom. Welcome to episode number 83 of the Average Man podcast, Spirit Bird. I'm here with Jay Godfrey. Big welcome to Jay Godfrey, mate. Look, thanks for your time here, man. Jay Godfrey of Godfrey Media, I should say there. And thanks for your time, brother. I really appreciate you coming on and having a yarn with us. So, we've been trying to tee it up for a little while. Everybody's busy. We got families and work commitments and whatnot. So I appreciate you putting some time aside, man. And it's great to meet you via Zoom anyway. And welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's a crazy time, bro.
All sorts of things happening, eh?
Yeah, trying to plan a lot of things has been, I guess, challenging for a lot of people, hey?
Yeah. Well, it's a very, very weird time that we're living in, man. Hey, I caught wind of you, I think through a mate of mine, through his Insta probably, a local fella here in Headland, Carlos, of Captured by Carlos. He's a local photographer. And I think that's where I caught wind of you. I was just trying to think about it the other day. Where did I stumble upon you? And then, your consistency and your positivity and kind of captured my attention. I've been following along and watching the journey unfold, man. So, you're an engaging sort of dude. You got an interesting look that helps, that stands you out from the crowd, and you've kind of got this infectious positivity, man. So that's kind of what captured my attention and drew me in. But I think that's where I caught wind of you through Carlos. And then I realized you put up a post a little while ago. I realized you'd spent some time in Headland a while back, which I didn't know at the time. I was just following you. You were a dude over in Queensland on the Gold Coast, and I thought, he was in Headland working, I assume. So I thought I had to reach out and get in contact, man.
I have. I've done 2 stints in Headland. One was 2014 on Roy Hill, and then there was FIFO, and then a more residential role in maybe 15 to 17.
Yep.
That was working locally at on the wharf.
Yep.
So that was residential, and that was a pretty tough gig because I chose to do long stints.
Yeah.
Away from the family.
Yeah, that would be really hard, man. I can imagine. Look, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown? Are you there, mate?
Yep.
Oh, my screen just cut out for whatever reason. Oh, good. I can still see you.
It could be my reception. It's not real flash out here at camp.
Righto. Well, we're still recording, so we should be good, man. Hey, give us a bit of a rundown of what you do through Jay Godfrey Media and Impact Media. What your passion is and what you're doing and what the services that you're offering are all about.
Cool. So it all sort of started actually in Port Hedland. I decided I wanted to start making videos a bit more, take it a bit more seriously, start a YouTube channel. And then I was like, well, I'm in Headland. Like, there's nothing here to film, like, because all the people that are watching were, Canada cities, major cities, doing all these cool things. And I was like, far out, what can I do here in Headland to create?
Yeah.
Which was cool because it really pushed me to get creative, and I learned a lot about storytelling.
Yeah.
How to make something out of nothing, basically. And that's sort of where it all started. I was still doing FIFO, doing little just passion jobs, not jobs, sorry, just little passion projects.
Yeah, your little side hustle.
Creating vlogs, YouTube, got on YouTube, and then took years until I started trying to make some money from it. And then about November last year, I went full-time Jay Godfrey Media. So started a little business, was trading as a sole trader, and things were going okay. Started picking up around February, and then COVID 2020 sort of rolled me, and I was like,
Yeah.
no. So, bro, I was
COVID, you
so gutted,
bastard.
because I was, yeah, I was so pumped to be getting out of construction and mining,
Yeah.
because I have a 5-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter who live in Brisbane, and I just didn't want to be away from them any longer. So
Yeah,
I
man.
was so pumped, bro, in November that I left, and then that I struggled through Christmas, and then I stuck in there. In February it was coming right, and then COVID happened. So it sort of forced me to, not forced me, but I came back out to FIFO
Yep.
through that time,
Yep.
which was actually a blessing, like a massive blessing. And that's when I started Impact Media, which, yeah, coming out here allowed me the time to get clear on what I actually wanted to do and where I wanted to take the thing, you know?
Yep.
So that was cool. And then, yeah, Impact Media started.
So I was actually going to ask that if this has progressed into like a full-time gig for you, or if you've still got the other job on the side, or, you still got the FIFO job, which you do. But I suppose having it as FIFO like that, yeah, you still miss out time with the kids, but you get blocks of time to work on your passion, to work on Impact Media. You get those big blocks rather than trying to squeeze it in on weekends and after hours and things like that.
Yeah, which is what I did from May until about a month ago.
Yep.
7/7 permanent days, which is like pretty much the dream roster.
Yeah.
That enabled me to, every second weekend book a couple jobs and do both, until one job out here ended about 6 weeks ago. And there, I asked one of the supervisors on this company that I'm working for now if he could get me a start on here, because I wasn't ready to leave full time yet.
Yeah.
And he did. He shuffled some stuff around. He got me a start. So I had 3 weeks in town between those jobs starting, and just put everything into my company, all my energy, all my time. And it just went boom. Like, it really took off. And to the point where I was like, far out, I actually don't have to go back out.
Yeah.
But I told this guy that I would, and, he did me a solid by getting me on, and didn't want to burn that bridge. So I came back out, and that was last swing. And then after 3 days of being here, I was like, oh man, I can't stay. I would not be being true to myself if I stayed out here, because I didn't want to let that guy down.
Yeah.
And then the nail in the coffin was, it was my son's birthday, and he called me up and he was like, oh, Dad, are you coming home tomorrow for my birthday, for my 5th birthday? And I was like, oh. I was like, no, I'm not, son. So it was literally that day that I resigned, and this is my last swing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, bro, I've got 5 more days and then full-time Impact Media.
Oh, you must be just vibing inside, dude.
Oh, bro, I'm pumped. And literally, as soon as I made that decision, and that's where my energy was, like, things have just been happening.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, falling into place.
Yeah.
But I believe that it's energy goes where attention flows.
Yeah.
Whatever that saying is.
Yeah.
Basically, wherever you choose to put the energy, that's the thing that will grow. So
yeah, man. Yeah. And as you say, falling into place, but the backdrop to that is years of hard work of hustling on the side and using all your free time and time after work, staying up late, editing, doing all that kind of shit. Yeah. So, it's falling into place. Yeah, it's a handy little saying, but really it's hard work paying off is what it is, isn't it? Yeah.
It's all part of a journey, like what 5-6 years ago, doing my first YouTube vid in Port Hedland,
yeah. This is where dreams are born, man. It happens. Right. People get inspiration out here, even if it's out of boredom or what am I going to do with myself here? Things grow here. You're not the first man I've spoken to where their passion has found its little spark out here for whatever reason and continued to grow, So it's whatever it is, man, there's something in the water.
Yeah. Well, Kalis and I actually we were doing stuff together, back when I was living in Hedland, and I'd buy a drone, he had a drone, and it's cool.
See, that's bizarre.
Ironic that his name was brought up.
Yeah, see, because I've had Carlos on a few times. He's been on 2 or 3 times on the podcast, and I didn't realize that you guys have actually knew each other like that. I have had no conversations with him about you, so it was just me thinking
Yeah.
back, and I think I must have been through Carlos's page because I see that he likes some of your vids and photos as well. But yeah, I didn't actually
Yeah.
realize that you dudes were boys. But yeah, he's a good man as well, isn't he?
Bro, we were real tight. We were real tight 'cause we were working together. He started at the company that I was working at, and we got along so well. We were going to the gym together, and yeah, it
I
was
can
cool.
imagine the energy of you two bumping into each other, man. You know, like that's pretty cool. Hey, and big shout
Yeah,
out to Carlos while we're here. The man's just had his first baby boy, I
I seen
believe,
that
a couple of
today.
days. Yeah, man. So he'll listen to this, mate. Big shout out, Carlos. We love you, brother.
We do love you, bro. We do. We've been
Yeah,
actually been trying to tee him up to come over the East Coast for like forever, but
mm,
obviously now it's super hard to do. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Man, look, I just love seeing people. I like to describe it as like breaking out of the matrix. So I love seeing people break out of the matrix and make a life doing what they love and what they're called to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, um, we can spend our whole life just doing the grind, and then there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we need people in all those jobs, mate. That's how shit runs, you know. But there's creative people out there. It's not even just creatives. There's people with passions that sometimes you lose side of it, or you feel like you've missed your moment or whatever it is. And I love seeing someone, you know, you look like probably about the same vintage as me, chasing after something that you love to do, and making your own future, mate, and like, you know, breaking out of the machine, doing something different. You know, I love seeing that. I fully vibe off it, and that's a big part of what this podcast is about, talking to people. You know, I do focus heavily on local, but I've got connections around the place, and Zoom's opened that up for me. So I'm not just doing local, and the fact that you're tied to Headland in one way just is just a neat way to wrap it all up for me. But just anyone who's doing something interesting, chasing those goals and passions, I love it, man. I feed off that sort of energy, you know, and which is why I wanted to get you on here and hear a bit about your story. And a big part of it seems to be this positive vibe that you put out, man, you know. And I think that's why
yeah.
you get things back.
It's bro. Yeah, yeah. I think to get to this point, well, I know for me to get to this point, I had to go through a lot of adversity and tipping point for me, a tipping point, breaking point, point of growth, whatever you want to call it. Like the point where I decided to really change my life was when my wife left. Actually, when I was in Headland. So, like, I've lived a life full of ineffective behaviours since I was probably 17. A bit of a traumatic upbringing with some things that happened to me and my family and I at a young age, and I think I unknowingly carried that. 17, 16, started drinking, ineffective behaviours just developed further, and then I played that out until 32, you know. All sorts, like self-sabotage, being unfaithful in almost every relationship I've ever had, money story, like, yeah, basically all self-sabotage.
Yeah.
And then when my wife left, I was sort of forced to, like, not forced, but I guess given the opportunity to do some work and heal, because I had lost everything, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a time for me where I was like, okay, well, what do I need to do to heal? Because I knew I'd not been living the most healthy life,
Yeah.
mentally, like for my mental state. And but I was, you know, male, bro. We're so tough. We're so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
We got all the answers. Like,
Yeah.
I did not. I was not okay with being vulnerable back then. Like, I couldn't even say I love you to. It was like my wife, my kids, my mum, and my sisters, and my nana. That was it, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so
The walls
Yeah, the
those
last
walls we
3.
put up, man. Those walls we put up,
Crazy.
you know. It's
Masks, bro, like masks.
yeah. You'll see what I want you to see, you know. Yeah, and it just takes a lot of work. Yeah,
100%.
and it takes work to break it down. You build it up subconsciously as you're a young man, and like you say, things happen to you at a young age. You build those things up, and then you show people what you want them to see, and then when it all comes crashing down, you've got to rebuild from scratch, and it takes a long time to pull all that shit down, man. You know, I know from
Yeah.
personal experience as well. It's funny that we're going down this path already. One of the questions I wanted to ask was, what was the catalyst for you to? I find these things you don't just wake up one day and just start chasing your dream for no reason. There's something that sparks
Yeah.
it, you know, and also with the mental side of things, I'm a big believer that our mental and our physical health are tied together really strongly. What do you agree with that? What's your feelings on
Right.
that?
100%. It's all the view that I have now, and it'll change again, it'll progress, but the view I have now is that, yeah, we are one, you know, human being, like we should be, not do. We do so many things instead of just be. It's definitely all tied together.
Yeah, and the healthy mind, healthy body, you know, it's a big package deal, really, isn't it? You know, getting them both in sync together. And I'm actually doing Sober October at the moment because I'm trying to change a few habits. I don't drink too much by the typical standard of things, but just for me, it's just it's a cultural thing, obviously, Aussie, and you know, I'm in construction as well, and you know, and I just wanted to break out of those habits. I don't want to just have a beer because I feel like that's what I do after work or on a weekend afternoon. Like, just try and break some of those habits. And I mean, like you say, we're always a work in progress. So trying to keep tweaking the machine and see where it can take me. And definitely, I feel the mental and the physical are tied together in a big way. Big workout. I do mine in the morning. Get up, do a big workout before work. You know, and have to gauge a little bit better as I get older, so I don't blow my energy levels out. But you just start the day feeling good. You've had a win, and then you can kind of go tackle the next challenge straight off the bat.
Yep. Yeah. Morning routine, bro. Or like you just said, a win for the morning. Like, cram as many wins in that morning as you can to then go literally supercharge your day.
Yeah. And I find the thing with kids too, I'm a very routine driven sort of creature. And having kids, just, I've got a little boy and a little girl, throws your life into chaos. And all of a sudden you've got to learn how to function in chaos, and then sort of wrap your routines and your drive and your mission, sort of, bring it all back on path with these little chaotic beings running around, changing shit on you every minute of the day. So it's a good little,
that,
yeah, man. Yeah. So good.
But we're going left. No, we're going right. No, we're going left. Yeah. No, we're not going anywhere. I'm just going to sit. Yeah. That's been a big one for me, bro, is learning to navigate through having the kids, because I've been having them on my week off. So still having the kids while trying to do the media thing, and realizing that we can't leave in 20 minutes. If it's me, I will work up until about 10 minutes before I have to walk out the door, get up, grab my bag, go, whatever.
Yeah.
I learned real quick. It doesn't work like that with kids. You've got to have a buffer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was actually real bad at this, was hurrying the kids along. Like, hurry up, son, hurry up. Like, we got to go. Yeah. And then I've learned that that's programming them to operate like that. You know what I mean? Like, we're always in a rush. That's what we do. That's our familiar.
Yeah.
And I don't want that for my kids.
Get in that rat race mentality, man. Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because again, back to the thing about passions and people breaking out of that matrix. It's, for me, of all the things we try and teach our kids, the most important thing I want to teach them the most important thing I want to teach them is to follow their dreams, follow their passions. You know, that takes hard work. You're not going to sit on the couch playing video games saying you're a musician. You know, you follow your dreams, you work hard, but to do what they actually love in life. And if that means you want to be an engineer, go to school. Lovely. Awesome. If that means you want to be an artist, be an artist. If that means you want to, whatever the hell it is in life, do that, chase those things, you know. And I guess that's what I want to teach them about life from a young age. There's no expectation to do anything else in the world except find what you love and go after it with everything you got, man. And I guess as a father, you know, my job now is to try and build some sort of base where I can maybe give them a launch pad to get off when they hit that age. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
I think it's really cool that we're doing what we're doing, bro, is we are leading by example. Yeah. You know, we are like my son Aston, he sees me go to work up here in the dozer. I send him videos and he also sees me do the media thing. So like he's seeing me do these jobs. And then he'll see me just do the media job. Like he knows Dad's got 2 more weeks to go, and then he's never, ever going away ever again. He's been telling everyone. So
how cool is that?
And then they will see, like they'll remember this stuff. He's 5, she's 3, turning 4. They'll remember this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad, you used to drive dozers, eh? Yeah, I did, son. And that was part of me pursuing this that creates the lifestyle that we now have, where I'm hands-on, home every night, picking you up from school, all that sort of stuff.
And you'll be working your ass off, but you'll be doing what you love, man. So, you know, they say you do something, find something that you love, and you never work a day in your life, man. How true is that? Like, you don't mind working your ass off for something that is yours and you own and you love and you're got all your heart and soul in, man.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I listen to the podcasts back all the time. You know, one of the hardest things to do, listen to your voice, hear me talk over people, hear me say stupid things. It's like, oh, and I listen to them, you know, driving around or whatever, and the kids will be in the car and the little faces light up. That's you, Daddy. That's you on the radio, Dad. What are you doing? You know, it's a cool little vibe I get off them. Man, that's we're doing what we love, and the kids, you're right, they see that, man. You don't have to tell them about it. They see us doing that, and as long as you instill hard work in them, that's the hard work thing. You know, the one thing. Everybody who's successful, whatever that means to that person, you know, it means something different to everybody. But the one thing they've all got in common is hard work.
Yeah. Nothing worth having comes easy, eh?
Nah, that's right, man. It's funny these COVID times that we're living in. I think there's a lot of people who are run down with stress, man, and tied down with financial burden and just the day-to-day going-ons of life, and don't have enough time as a society. People, we don't have enough time to just live and just chase the things that we actually love, you know, and it takes guts to break out of that, especially when you've got kids, you've got, you know, you've got priorities, you've got responsibilities, you've got things you have to do, targets you have to meet financially and whatnot every week, every fortnight, every month. So it takes guts to break out of that and chase that down, man. So it's really good to see more people doing it. It's good to see you doing it, you know, and you can tell how much you love what you do, man. And I just hope that it just keeps going and going and going for you. And I think with the passion and the work ethic, you know, I really don't see how it can't go that way. And your work speaks for itself too.
Probably the biggest thing that's held me back up to this point has been self-doubt and like not backing myself. Which, bro, if I could rid my family of one thing, it would be self-doubt.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crippling. I realise now that I've had I was insecure my whole life, self-doubt, which those traits led to the self-sabotage. Anything good that I would have, I would find a way to get rid of it because subconsciously I didn't think I deserved it. Or yes, it's so crazy, man, what we learn. But working on that and working on valuing my worth and realizing my worth has been a pretty pivotal transition to sort of mediocre kind of might be all right sort of business to, sweet, I can do this full time now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's big, isn't it? The self-doubt thing, because, you know, if you don't believe in you, there's not really many other people that are going to, and no one else is going to put the hard yards in and make it work for you, man. And to have that vision, you know, I got some obviously ideas, dreams, goals, things I want to make happen. And yeah, if you were to just walk up to one of the bloke, I'd chat to a few of the blokes at work, but in general, in this, you know, the 9 to 5 life, walk up and just tell them what you see in your future. They just look at you like, dude, you're tripping. Like, get back to work, man. So you've got to have.
And that's sad. It's sad, bro. That's the masses subdued. You know, like,
yeah.
Speaking of COVID, like, you know, there's a lot of thoughts around the whole what's going on there, and I believe it's a lot of subduing the people.
The government,
fear-mongering, and
the government are loving the opportunity to tell us where to sit, what we can do, where we can go, tracking people. They are loving that they've got people putting them back in their box. I don't know, like, I've had a few rants on this podcast about it, so I won't go on one now, but they are loving the opportunity to put people back in their box, man, especially in the information the information time that we're living in, the information era, where we can all talk to each other, we can share ideas, we've got data at our fingertips. You know, we are able to just discover the truths about things for ourselves, rather than having to go through gatekeepers, people like yourself that don't need big corporations and producers and all this sort of shit to build things for them. You can do things for yourself, you know. So gatekeepers and a lot of old institutions are becoming obsolete, and we have this and then I'm again, don't want to go on my soapbox, but things that people are experimenting with, mind-altering drugs, psychedelics, things like that, looking outside the box, man. And it's just crazy that the government have just gone, well, hang on, here's you know, this situation, we're going to jump on it, put people back in their box, fear-mongering, and everything we do is for the safety of the people, you know. And when is this thumb going to get lifted off our head? We don't know. It's pretty scary at the moment, man.
It is such an unknown time, hey, and yeah, what you brought up, the mind altering, like altered state, psychedelics, and, you know, dimethyltryptamine, psilocybin, bro, like another pivotal moment in my healing journey. Yeah, bro, that, and it's crazy because I've recently watched a lot of stuff and read a lot about how psilocybin and that was introduced back in the 70s, and then how quickly the government was like, oh, no, like, nah, it's bad, it's so bad, like, people get suicidal on psilocybin, like,
have you read Michael Pollan's book, How to Change Your Mind, The New Science of Psychedelics?
No.
Really, really good book. I mean, I do them audio because I don't have time to sit down and read, but he's a legit investigative journalist. He's done a lot of really, he's got a really big name in that sort of community. He's in his 60s, I think now. Wasn't a drug guy, decided to do a book about psychedelics. So he dove right in and went and did psilocybin mushrooms and DMT and acid and a few other things, and did some of them in the therapeutic setting with, you know, the right setting in place. And his breakdown of it all, when he goes into the history about when it came out of the universities and, you know, sort of got into the community, and how that whole situation happened, where they ended up pulling all the acid and stopping all the research that was going on. And for 30, 35 years, it just
they were funding it, bro.
You know, and there's and there's people having breakthroughs. They're having 1, 2, 3 psilocybin mushroom therapy sessions with a partner or with themselves about some family trauma or addictions or whatever, and becoming, you know, what you'd say, you know, healed or cured after, you know, 20 years worth of work in normal therapy sessions, just like that. Yeah. These things can rewire the chemistry of your brain, you know, done in the right way with the right people around. DMT, you know, like people, it can be life-changing, because I don't see what the problem is with people being super introspective and looking at themselves from the the most simple part of themselves all the way back out again, and just trying to reorganize their life, change all their views. Like, it's not, these things aren't dangerous. There's no one's dying from them. You know, there is going to be people who aren't, it's no good for. That's true about any substance. That's true about marijuana. That's true about alcohol, you know, but we know that things like alcohol and cigarettes kill people, man. We know that, that's for sure. So these substances, man, they just, I'm so stoked that it's starting to become, I've got unstable internet connection there. I'm so stoked that the ball's rolling again, you know, and that whole community is sort of coming alive again. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the next sort of 5, 10, 15 years with it.
Yeah.
Said I wasn't going to go on a rant.
2020's been a cool year.
I said I wasn't going to go on a rant, and I went on a rant.
Bro, I'm glad that you brought that up and spoke about that, because we see eye to eye on actually pretty much almost everything, which is really cool.
Yeah.
The government don't want people to be awakened. They want numb. They want people to believe that what they're being programmed is the one and only way, you know, like that. I've only done DMT once, and that was just so profound, bro. Like, absolutely. 5 years ago, I would have never done that.
Yeah.
I was always interested. I remember a Joe Rogan podcast. I actually remember exactly where I was in Port Hedland when I was listening to this podcast too.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan talking about DMT. Actually, I asked Kalis about it. I was like, bro, do you know anything about DMT? And he's like, no, I think you smoke it through a glass pipe. And I was like, oh, hell no, that's not for me. Like, I was like, bro, I'm not keen on that. No. That's funny. And then, shift to now, I'm just so open-minded to pretty much anything, bro. Like breath work, you know, holotropic breath work.
Yep.
Get a DMT release from holotropic breath work. Like, there's just so many tools out there that we can use.
It's amazing, man. And the funny thing is that people are terrified of other people using them. I mean, these things are not addictive substances. You have a DMT experience. You're not chomping at the bit for the next one. You know, you're going away, taking what you learnt with you, unpacking it all, working through it. And then, you know, I'm about a year away from my last one, and I'm thinking, maybe I could go down that rabbit hole again. I know it would be good for me, but I'm nervous, man. I'm scared because I'm going to have to look inside behind the curtains, really, you know, without a filter, and then do the work afterwards. So it's some serious shit, man. So, and I think Joe Rogan, our man Rogan, he actually describes it probably the best way I've heard it described, which is it's like getting your laptop your desktop on your computer and all those old files with random shit in them that build up over the time, and just wiping it all clear, and then having one little box there that says my old bullshit. And then you start with a fresh screen, and then slowly you start unpacking that box and saying, no, I don't need that. No, I don't need that. That I can keep, you know, and you start from scratch again. And it's a real good sort of reset like that.
Yeah. It's out of it trying to explain a journey to someone who's never journeyed, you know, like for me, what comes up a lot is when I feel I'm being judged by someone who's not done it, and and you know, comments and that they make, and I think, man, if only you knew, like, if only you just went on a journey, and it's mind-boggling, bro? That's
right, it really is, man. And you know, there's different ways people use things. People go and have mushrooms and just party on them. That's fine, you do whatever you want, but that's not the way I would use psilocybin. That would be, you know, in a real comfortable setting with, you know, one or two people I'm super comfortable around and with, and going in with a purpose to do some work. You know what I mean? Like, see what I can uncover and where we go from there, because it just makes you view things through a different lens, and, you know, rewires things in your brain as well. So super excited about that whole field, man.
But there's stuff there that you don't even know is there, right? And then, like you said, go in ceremony, set an intention, like surrender to the journey, and just let it take you wherever. And
that's important, isn't it? Don't try and turn corners on your own. You got to go with the flow.
and you legit have to surrender.
And as well, you know, I think it's when you're talking about that, responsible and important to say that to anyone that's sort of looking at that avenue, you can have bad trips, man. And what that is that there's things you need to confront, and they're being put bang right in front of you, and you cannot turn away, ignore, run away from them anymore. That's what a bad trip is, or you're fighting it. You know what I mean? Again, you need to do that work. And if you do the work, you know, then you can go back in and hopefully have a good experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's very similar to my first one, psilocybin, was that there was it was all so beautiful at the start, even like amazing. And anyone who's done psilocybin will know what I'm talking about. The colors, you know, like the highlighter pinks and the yellows and the baby blues, and like, oh bro, it was so like a Turkish plate, you know, you see those plates and they all got like,
like what a great
fragment.
description. I haven't heard that. Just how it described like that. Yeah.
Like that, and it's all like they're like moving around like a kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
So cool. And then I remember it was all bright and yellow, and then it just closed in darkness, and I thought, oh, what's this? I don't like this. I knew what it was. It was tied to what I went through when I was a kid. Yeah. My dad, and that's something that I hadn't dealt with. What was I, 30, 32? Yeah, for 30 odd years. And when it come closing in, I was like, oh, I think I know what this is. And then it just got black, complete black. And I started to hold my breath and just tense.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, no, like not doing this, not going there, not letting go of this thing.
Yeah.
And then I remember the facilitator, she said, the mushroom is intelligent, it's smart, it will give you what you need. Just surrender to the process. And that penny dropped halfway through, and I was like, oh, surrender to the process.
Yeah.
Literally in that moment, took a deep breath, and it was like I surrendered to that process, took that deep breath, and the darkness just went poof. It's like literally felt like I pulled a piece out and got rid of it, bro. It was
how cool
crazy.
Is that? How cool is that?
Oh, so cool.
Something as when
I even got tricked. Sorry, bro, you go.
No, I was going to say something as simple as effectively just letting go. You know, people can say it to you, you can think about it, but something as simple as actually letting it go, man. And you know, it's that experience with the psilocybin that, you know, allowed you to do that, and it's probably rewired your brain around those circumstances, that they don't affect you the same way anymore. You know, they talk about it being really great for post-traumatic stress disorder, because they can go back to a traumatic event, discuss it with people, delete the negative vibes and feelings and emotions that are attached to it. Sometimes it can be sound, color, smell, all these different things that are attached to this negativity, and they can kind of rewire it in a different direction, so that when you then think, you'll never stop thinking about that kind of stuff. It's always something that's in your life, trauma, but you don't have the same connection to it. You now know that you can let it go, and you can look at the trauma and deal with it and view it in another way. Sort of, it's not that negative. It doesn't control your life anymore, you know? So how is that bad? How is that bad? But hey, man, you can go buy a pack of smokes down the road and then drink yourself into a stupor and fucking drive your car home and run somewhere over. No sweat. Do that. That's all good. As long as you pay your taxes, man, that's all good.
And then go to the chemist and get pharmaceuticals.
Heroin.
You know, like
heroin in a tablet.
Yeah.
No one's ever died from that, though.
You buy it over the counter.
No one's ever died from that, though.
Crazy, eh? No side effects.
No, not addictive.
No side effects.
No. So
not addictive, no side effects. Bro, you look on the packets to those things, and often the side effects are, one of the side effects will be the reason why you're taking the thing.
Yeah.
You know, like you'll go
Yeah.
take an anxiety pill, and
Yeah.
on the side effects will say could cause anxiety
Yeah.
or mild depression. You're like,
Yeah.
what?
Plus diarrhea, your hair falling out, vomiting, stomach pains. Oh,
Yeah,
what kind of ride am I getting on here, man?
eczema. You know, like all this shit.
Yeah.
But
Psychotic events.
they make money on it. So
Well, yeah, no, yeah, it's big business, man. And the culture is shifting, man. The culture's shifting. We would have been weirdos having this conversation 15 years ago. You know what I mean? We would have been a fringe conversation,
yeah,
but these conversations are happening now, man. And the
yeah,
information it's out there. You'll love that book. I'll shoot it to you in DMs after, man. But I reckon you'll really love that book. I don't know if you read or if you do audios or anything like that, but such a good look at
yeah.
the whole thing from the outside. He's such a good writer, a good author, man. So
Yeah. I
See,
love that he's actually studying it.
yeah, he really has. Yeah. The only thing he didn't do was MDMA because it's under the it's like I'm not sure if it's under the amphetamine banner, but it raises your heart rate, and he's got some heart problems, so it can actually be physically dangerous to some people. Whereas the mushrooms, the DMT, the acid, it's not physically dangerous to you at all. You're gonna be all right, you know. Yeah, pretty cool book, pretty cool read, man. I told you we go on tangents on this thing.
Cool. It's good, bro. It's good. I love it.
Man, hey, so I always have some little notes written down on the side there just to keep the convo flowing and to make sure I hit all the things I wanted to know, so I don't get too off topic. But I really haven't needed them. We've discussed everything naturally, which is the way I love it. I love when I look at my book at the end and go, I covered everything on that. I didn't even really need a look. So that's sort of where we're at the moment. But I do want to know what's next. What's next? We've sort of brushed over it. What's next for Jay Godfrey in the Jay Godfrey story, man? Where do we go?
That's a good question, man. So it's hard to even put into words. I know. I'll start with what I do know. Next year, Impact Media I'll be getting a studio. So I've got big plans for a studio space and what I want to do with the space, which will all tie into the reason I started Impact Media was through my healing journey. There was a pretty pivotal moment. There's been a few pivotal moments, but one was meeting the dude on Instagram, bro. So when I was going through my separation, I moved back to Brizzy. I didn't really have friends. I had friends, but I didn't really have a good circle. And I met this one dude, ended up going down the coast with him, catching up with him, meeting him, and just hit it off. Like, so he's a big dude. He's about 6'1", 6'2", 105 kilos, shredded. Like, to look at him, you think, like, beast. Yeah. So when I went down to train with this dude, I was thinking we're going to have to do this, like, hardcore training. Like, I was preparing myself. We did about a 15-minute hit session. And I was like, he's like, sweet, that's it. And I was like, fuck, is that it? I'm like, easy. Like, smash that. And then he sat down, and I'll never forget, this was the second time we actually hung out. He sat down, we all sat down, and he goes, all right, today I just want to talk a little bit about mental health and go over a few topics. And today's topic is love. And what does love mean to you? And I was thinking, what the heck? Like, this is weird. Like, this is gay, you know, like that.
What have I got myself into here? Yeah.
Yeah, like, this is stupid. And I thought, actually, that's out of a question. I tried to think, and I couldn't answer it, bro. I was like, what is, it's like, you know, you say it to your wife or something, you know. I didn't know what love was. Fast forward probably about 6 months, and these conversations were getting more and more, and we were starting to do other work and align with other people who were in the similar fields, or, you know, having these conversations. It was like we were calling these people in, this energy. And And then we, there was about 20 of us all up, went for a walk out in the bush. You might know the name of it. It's a cactus.
Oh, peyote.
Yeah. A heart opener. Yeah. So took that, went for a walk, did a 20K walk, and we did some exercises down there, some things like a primal scream and just spoke. It was led by a guy, Lenore Holler, who's now men's medicine. And what happened on that day was right? So I looked up to in my eyes, this guy was the guy that could do everything. Still think that, he could fight, he could, do everything that was a tough man, right? So he was a tough dude. He growing up fighting the gangs back in New Zealand, and he was a tough dude. And the guy that was tougher than him was his dad, even tougher again. Probably fought everyone in the country 17 times. The dude is tough. So for these two tough dudes to be there, and on this day, I was given permission when Wah opened up and spoke. Every time I get emotional,
Still good.
So Wah got up and spoke about some trauma, and he's full-blown crying. The toughest guy that I knew at this point in my life is standing in front of us, other 18 dudes, crying, full-blown crying, and turns around, points at his dad, looks at all of us and says, all I wanted my whole life was for that man there to love me. And bro, for me, that just I lost it, we're all pretty upset because we were not used to seeing this vulnerability, So for this dude that we all respected and valued so much to stand up there and just cry and say he wanted his dad to love him like he was a little boy, like his son again. It just opened the floodgates, and it was honestly that moment on that day where I really stepped into being vulnerable. And because I was given permission, so he gave me permission that day to be myself, to be emotional, to be vulnerable, to cry. I've actually been this person my whole life, but I suppressed it because my whole life I wanted to be tough. My whole life I wanted to be known as the tough guy. Bro, I've never even been in a fight. You know what I mean? Never in my life have I punched another human.
Yeah, right.
So here I was getting around, pretending to be this big tough dude, suppressing my emotions, never crying, and it made me unhappy. And then that day, it was like I was just given permission to just be myself and be free. That is a long story, but
That's a good
is
story.
the reason why I started. Yeah, that's why I started Impact Media, bro, because through that men's medicine, and then Wyatt Davidson and I founded another group called Amend. Both groups still operating and still doing a lot of work in mental health with men, women. I think even Amend are doing work with troubled youths now, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, there's this big shift going on in the world, which is cool. So through that work over the last 2 years and me doing all the videography and photography for that, but I really found a passion for telling stories in a form that you feel. If you watch one of my videos, I want you to feel what I felt on that day that Wah gave me permission, that this father here told his son he loves him for the first time, capturing that emotion and delivering that to the world. That's why I started Impact Media. So Impact Media was literally a media company with the intention to make a positive impact in the world through storytelling and, impactful content. But that's a little bit about my why, and what's coming up is lots of impact media stuff. The studio will, it'll be all of that sort of.
We'll follow. We'll follow anyway, man. We'll touch bases again. I have a feeling we're going to have some more conversations anyway, so we don't have to hit everything right now, man. And that was an amazing story, dude, man. Your mate, sounds like he's got some big balls on him, man. You talk about self-confidence. That's a self-confident man right there, to be able to stand up and do that and put himself out, be so vulnerable in front of those people, man, that many people, and obviously give everyone that permission to feel like that as well, man. And it's funny you say we see eye to eye on a lot of things, and I feel you, brother, because, I spent my whole life, look, we spoke about building a facade I wanted people to see me as. And as a man now, I finally feel I'm confident and comfortable in my skin. I still have a lot of insecurities, man, but I don't mind showing my vulnerabilities. I don't need people to think I'm a tough dude anymore. I don't care about that, man. I want to appreciate tough dudes. I watch the UFC, man. You know what I mean? So, and I want my kids to again, lead by example, to grow up and realize it's not all about, you got to be who you are, man. Men's Medicine, I follow them too, and it must be through you. There's that chain, that knock-on effect that, we talk about, what we've got access to today, man. I love that they're doing that, working with troubled youths. Like, how cool is that, man, that you have something, a grassroots foundation that's going to have that kind of reach, man. I love it. I love the whole story, man. I really appreciate you sharing that with us as well, man. Even though, it's hard to be vulnerable, even though I'm sure you're getting more and more practice at it now, and that's who you are. I've got to check myself all the time, and that's one of my. I don't have very many rules on my podcast. But honesty is the number one thing, which is why I don't edit, which is why I let us go wherever we go. It's got to be natural. And I've always got to check myself. I'm worrying about who's listening. Even my parents, they listen along. My dad's a Baptist minister, man, back in the day. Great man. But, we have some different takes on things, You don't want to disappoint people, but I have to be honest, man. I've got to be me. I went through the phase of lying. I grew up lying about everything, man. That was my defense mechanism in my family. I got older brothers. I've seen the wars that they had with each other and with my dad. And my way around that was to just create, again, that facade. Everyone got a facade. Everyone got the look I wanted them to get. And I was real good at it, man, cheating on girls, all that kind of shit. And then when it came crashing down on me, I thought, fuck, I've got a chance here to spin some more webs, more lies, rope more people into them, or just be myself, tell the truth. And the decision to do it was super hard. But once I did, it was so much a weight off my shoulders. And the impact you first get when you tell someone the truth in a bad situation doesn't last. And then you're into, especially as men, into, all right, how do we fix this problem situation, rather than, all right, how do I cover my tracks? Who else needs to be involved in this web? No.
Yeah.
This is the truth, man. As terrible as it is, I thought I was better than this. You thought I was better than this. What do we do to fix it? And then we're on. Now we're in problem solving mode, So I got to check myself all the time, make sure I'm staying honest, and then telling the truth and putting myself out there through my podcast as well, man. And hey, man, I knew we'd have a good chat. I didn't realize we'd connect on so many different levels, man. So I've loved having you on here. I've loved this chat, man. This has been fucking awesome. Super invigorating for me, man. Another thing I wanted to ask before, we start to wrap it up was what do you do? I asked you something in the messages about what you do for your free time, and you said you like to spend a lot of time with your kids. I'm down with that. That's my jam as well. But what do you do to keep yourself refreshed, to keep your energy and your vibe up? Because as much as we love them, we do need some time away from them. You don't want to. We're with people that we love 24/7. we all get a bit edgy around each other. And I think it's healthier for us to go away and do our own things and come back and miss people. So what do you do to keep your cup full, man? You know?
Yeah. That will drastically change moving forward because, as I mentioned earlier, last swing of FIFO. So honestly, bro, I've gotten so used to FIFO over 10 years that I feel like a bit of filling my cup up was actually coming out here and running away from everything, really, because you come out to FIFO and you just, I get up in the morning, I do my morning routine, which is usually consists of meditation, at least 10 minutes. And then I'll do some exercises, some stretching or, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, something like that to get in my body, drink my water. And then I'll go to the gym. And then if I have time, I'll read 10 pages of a book. So when I come out here, I just do that, then I go to work. So I kind of get that top up.
Your life becomes simple.
Yeah. But I also, I think, misused that as well because I used it to run away from confrontation in town, especially in my marriage. I was actually happier away. And that was why my wife ended up leaving because I would come home. When I was in Headland, bro, I did a 6-month stint. Like, ridiculous. Absolutely no need to do that ever. Like, how much money do you need that you have to go away for 6 months? It's only the other side of Australia. The plane ticket home was $1,200, bro. And I was like,
damn.
No, we need my company, but because it was confronting. Yeah, bro. And I would justify it with, we need the money, but I'd go away and I'd spend the money on shit. So I realize now that I've used FIFO to get away and justify it with, we need the money. Like, how can you need the money still after 10 years of FIFO? You know what I mean? Like, you got to be real bad at finances and stuff. So sorry, to fill my cup, bro, I love to train. I love getting sunshine, love going to the beach. I love swimming in the ocean.
Yep.
If I feel heavy, like energy-wise, tired, go jump in the ocean, just a good wash off, get some sun on the skin, go for a walk. And I actually love connecting with people, bro. Sitting down, having a chat, having a coffee.
Yeah. Cool, man. How good's the ocean, bro? I've always had a thing about the ocean. In my mind, I used to, especially when I was younger and life was hectic and all sorts of shit going on, I'd go down the beach, I'd drive down there, I'd walk down there, whatever. I'd sit down there, I'd smoke a joint, and I'd look at the water, man, and just I'd exhale and everything would just go away, man. I'd look at that water and I'd know that all the troubles were behind me, the people, the hassle, the hustle and bustle, whatever shit I'd got myself into, and out there was the ocean, man. And that's just where it just all ends. And it would stress me out thinking about people that live in inner city, large inner city areas. Just imagine being this house in the middle of houses, on blocks, on freeways and roads. And just where the fuck do you get away from it? I can see how people get it from the mountains or even the desert, but that ocean, man, that's where it ends. That's where the problems, human problems end, man. It's so, it's just, cleansing, to use an overused word. So,
yes. You said the word Spirit Bird at the start. What was that in relation to?
So I asked you for some favorite songs. You flicked through Spirit Bird as one of them. So before we start, I'll do a little intro. I'll have Spirit Bird play, as much of it as I can get away with. We'll have a bit of Spirit Bird play and I'll just tell people what's going on for today's episode and lead it in. And I figure that's probably a bit of your vibe, hey?
Yeah. And what you just said about being near a large body of water, Xavier Rudd says it in one of his songs about something about many moons have risen and fallen long before you came.
Yeah.
So what does it say? When you feel the weight of society adding to the strain, take a stroll to the nearest water and remember your place.
Yeah, man.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, man, one thing I want to do in my life is meet that dude.
Yeah, right.
Xavier Rudd. Which probably won't be that hard. because I think he kicks around Byron.
Yeah, I think so, man. And he's an awesome musician. Seen him live a couple of times, and wow, man, he just I actually I didn't dig him before I saw him live because my missus was all about him. So I had a little thing, you know, and then we saw him live. This is 12, 15 years ago. Saw him live, and I was like, yeah, he's pretty fucking good. Yeah, man, you got me. I'm on board. So.
Bro, we are tarred with the same brush, bro. Legit. Like when it was 14 years ago. The chick that I moved over here with,
yeah,
Jamie, she just before we split and she went back to NZ. I came home from work and she was there drinking. She didn't drink often, and she was there having a few drinks. And I was like, "Oh, what are you up to?" She goes, "Oh, no, just going to a concert." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, didn't even know. Like,
yeah.
out of it. She's like, "Oh no, one of the girls from work's coming over." And anyway, it was Xavier Rudd.
Yeah.
And just like you, bro, from that day on, I was like, Xavier Rudd, like, who's he? Like,
Who's this dude?
I didn't even listen to him. And
Yeah.
then through my healing, bro, I would always hear Spirit Bird come on through ceremony. And
yeah.
like, man, that just sings to my heart now, that song, eh?
He's amazing
Crazy.
live, man. He's amazing live. Hey,
I have to say.
Look, man, we've done, where are we sitting at? We're sitting at just over an hour.
Yep.
I think it's a good digestible chunk of time. But a couple of things before I get you out of here. One, I'd love to have another conversation with you, man, that you're talking about storytelling. That's your passion. One of my passions, and I don't have at the moment a means to express it or make it happen. But one of my passions is I love media. I love movies. I love TV shows. I love music. I love storytelling through that vibe as well, through that medium. But a lot of what we listen to, especially movies and all that sort of stuff, is overseas, America, England, especially America, you know, all that kind of stuff. We know all about their political system. We know all about their history. We know all about their stories with the Native Americans and what happened with the settlers and all this kind of shit. It's really, really interesting stuff. I love it. We know obviously a lot about what happened in Europe and the English colonizing places and all that sort of shit. And obviously New Zealand, Australia were on that list, but we don't tell, and New Zealand's probably better at this than Australia, but we don't tell our own stories enough, man. The Aboriginal people, you know, I'm part Aboriginal, man. This is something that's close to my heart. The Aboriginal people have so many stories to tell, and the you know, the Europeans that come over here, there's so many untold stories. Part of the Aboriginal culture is that they don't talk about a lot of that stuff. Trauma, especially people that have passed away, but as well, they don't write things down, they storytell verbally. So there's so many things that I would love to be captured between, you know, your culture, my culture, the stories that we've got on our own soil, man. People need to hear them. Those stories need to get out. And I think you see it starting to happen more and more now. And I love that. I'm super passionate about telling our own stories, man, you know? So yeah. I thought I'd just throw that out there. And we could chat about storytelling and all that kind of stuff, man. But is there anything else you wanted to share with us or tell us about, man? Like where can people find you? Insta, Facebook, YouTube, website, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm transitioning into Impact Media. It was Jay Godfrey Media. It still is. I think that's going to become personal account, which is at Jay Godfrey Media, Instagram. Facebook, it's just my name, Jay Godfrey. For more of the short films and eventually down the track podcast, that's the vision for Impact, is to do short films on say yourself, and then interview you in a podcast about what the short film meant to you, things that you went through that got you to that point, you know. So I guess sharing people's stories. So keep that short. Impact Media for that sort of stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much me, bro. I'm a bit of a noob on Facebook.
Yeah.
Insta's definitely my go-to.
Yeah, same. I just use Facebook to post episodes up, really, and buy
Yeah.
and sell shit. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you'd be awesome on a podcast, bro. I think you'd fucking kill it. I think you got the voice, you got the vibe. I think I think you'd do really, really well in that space, man. I'd love to see that happening too. Is there any shout outs you'd like to give to anybody, man? We've already talked about men's
We
medicine,
probably don't have
Carlos,
time
and
for that, bro.
okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Because bro, I won't lie, bro. I do love to chat. So I'll just say a big shout out to everyone who's loved and supported me from day one till now, recently, whenever. Thank you for all the love and support, because I know there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that mean a lot to me, and those people know who they are. I won't say all their names on here. Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah.
Thank
Cool.
you to you, bro, for having me on, for the invitation.
I've loved it, man.
For doing what you do. Acknowledgement to you. Yeah, acknowledgement to you, bro, for stepping into your truth and your power and sharing with the world.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Appreciate it, man. I've loved it. I've been super vibed, excited about this chat for a while, man. I'm glad that you give me some time, and I'd love to tee it up again and follow the journey a little bit, man. So yeah, thanks heaps for your time, dude. And I think that 100%. on that I'll stop recording and. So sorry, mate.
We'll kick one off in summer, bro.
Oh yeah,
see how the first 3-4 months of Impact Media have gone and
beautiful.
What's going on. But yeah, again, thank you so much for having me, and appreciate you heaps, bro.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for your time, man. Episode number 83.
Actually, can I get a little?
What do you need?
83. Just gonna get a little bird.
Oh yeah, right. I also get a photo of you through here too. That's a good way. I like to put a photo up on Insta of the guest, so that's not a bad idea.
Just a little, little support the community, and there he is, the man.
The average man.
Thank you.
I've loved it, man. Too easy. Thanks so much.
Podcast.
Yeah, man. Find it on all your podcast outlets. It's on Spotify and all that sort of jazz. Apple Podcasts, wherever you get them from, man. She's up there. You'll see my little logo. So appreciated your time. Loved it, man.
Awesome, bro. Awesome.
Too easy. Peace out.
Legend. Thank you very much.